Alien Earth is just another dark sci-fi that has a 100-pound girl who's going to beat everybody up and be better than everybody else. And it's just yet another installment in this series that does this exact same thing. So I actually checked this one out yesterday, and this is going to be my full review of the first episode. I think they premiered 2 episodes, if I recall. I can't remember, but I only watched one, and I'm probably only going to watch one because I'm bored by it already. I'm not a big Alien fan to begin with. I mean, the movie's fine, and I just never like horror sci-fi. Or like really dark stuff so much. I mean, I'm much more of a Star Trek fan. I'm about exploring humanity, strange new worlds. That kind of thing appeals to me a lot more than this. But that said, I am a writer of science fiction, so I understand it, and I understand that, of course, Alien and the original movies were good, and that's quality writing and quality directing and quality acting all the way around. And of course, Alien was Hallmark early because they had one of the early strong female leads. Back then, it didn't seem like, and this is where we've kind of gone at today, it didn't feel like, every movie was that, so it wasn't just painful to watch. Now we watch this kind of stuff and it's like, oh, they're doing it again. Like, I mean, it's rough. Where's the white males? There aren't any in the show. And that's kind of where we're at in society these days. And I would argue that, of course, in the early Alien movies, at least, she kind of like did her job to look like a buff, lead in that, to at least try to do something with her physique in order to make it more believable. In these ones, they're taking these like little like scrawny stick theater kids and sticking them into these films, and then they just don't connect with anybody as the leads. And as you see right here, Alien Earth premiere, a franchise's next badass heroine. Yay, please clap, everybody. So let's get into this review in just a moment. You could already tell kind of where I'm going with this, and it wasn't, I'll preface this before I get too far. It wasn't horrible. But they did make a lot of writing mistakes beyond just the typical feminist stuff, which I'll talk about in just a second as well. And I'm just not captivated. So please hit the like and subscribe button. Join us here as we talk about all things sci-fi. Really appreciate you guys for being here. This is my Justified Saga of the Nano Templar. If you like my thoughts on writing, this was a direct reaction when I wrote this to The Last Jedi, and actually it was The Force Awakens more so, where they did the same thing with Rey in Star Wars as they're actually doing here with this character. And because of that, I decided to take a male character and do something a little different with it and make this just badass action adventure that starts in action and is a lot of fun. So this is a great sci-fi. If you want an alternative, check this out. It's a trilogy. It's in the description below. It's available on ebook, print, and audio for your convenience. And thank you guys for supporting us. Grab this. Get on my newsletter so you don't miss my books because I have a lot of cool stuff coming out. And this is a great place to start if you want to start reading. I think you're going to love this if you're a sci-fi fan. Thanks for being here. Okay, so yes, this is the new Alien. Of course, the last Alien that they did was a strong female lead, kind of, boring girl boss situation. And this looks to be very much the same thing. Now, this one actually starts out with this crew on a spaceship, and they're on a Wayland spaceship, and they're coming back after they've gotten a bunch of alien samples back from Earth. I'm very confused. Like I said, I'm not a huge Alien franchise fan. Does this stuff actually hold continuity between the other movies and stuff like that? Because it feels like they always get surprised in every one of these movies. They're surprised by the alien that's showing up, and then it scares them, and they've never seen it before. And so I'm always confused as to what's going on in terms of these movies. If you're an Alien fan of the actual franchise, tell me, is there a continuity? Is it kind of loose? Because it feels like there's kind of not overall. But I came into this, like I said, not a huge fan, so I'm looking at this as its own thing. Now, you're introduced to all these characters who are waking up in stasis pods at the very beginning, and it starts very slow. And you're wondering who the main character is. You're like, what's going on? And the first 20 minutes of this are around these characters and this black guy who's a synthetic human, who's just not even a real human, and he's clearly betraying everybody. For some unknown reason that does not get explained in this episode. So you don't connect with anybody on that. They just die, except for this guy. You see stuff like an alien, like the actual alien, gets loose and kind of slaughters everybody, and he kind of puts himself into a pod, and then that ship's going to be coming for Earth, and then cut to the strong female lead. And so that, like I said, this is like a classic 101, is this the main character? I think this is the main character. So it's why is this guy being introduced first? And I guess you're showing the plot a little bit, but it leaves you. This is an hour-long film, or at least first episode. In the first 20 minutes, you're not connecting with anybody, and so that's a big problem when you can't connect with a character. And that's the problem with Star Wars Episode 1 as well. Like, who's the main character of that film? Well, Anakin, and you don't. When do you meet Anakin? Like 40 minutes into the film, and that's a problem. You can't do that with your main characters, and so that's what we have right here. As it's a very slow world building at the very beginning of this. And we see that they then go to this Prodigy Corporation where they're taking kids who like have cancer and are putting them in new adult synthetic bodies. Now, this is creepy as it is to start. And, of course, this is a horror sort of franchise, so it's meant to be creepy. I was a little worried that they were going to do this and then make a transgender allegory out of it because, this is 2025. And thankfully, it doesn't seem like they did. So all the kids who were put into adult bodies were put into the bodies of the same gender. So it's like, okay, it's still creepy because you see these adults acting like kids because they are kids in adult bodies. And they, it just feels uncomfortable. But it's meant to be that way, right? This is meant to be uncomfortable. This is meant to be a creepy thing. This is an evil corporation. And even though they're doing, quote, philanthropic things, which are helping these kids with, quote, cancer, like survive, and of course, it just doesn't feel right across the deal. So this guy's kind of in charge of this like group of these like synthetic bodies. They are built stronger and faster than everybody else, and so it kind of they at least explain the strong female lead that she's not a human. She's like kind of a robot body ish. And so that makes a little sense. It kind of reminds me of like the Sarah Connor Chronicles a little bit, if you remember that from Terminator. Which again, like for some reason, like I was okay with that one. With this whole situation. This is the leader of the corporation. He's kind of an overgrown kid himself, but he's a super genius and kind of crazy. It's unclear what his motivations are, and this is kind of the whole problem. Like with everything, it's unclear what his motivations are as the guy who's crashing the ship and betraying his crew. It's unclear what his motivations are because they don't really give much to it. It's unclear what the like leader here's motivations are. Now the ship crashes on Earth, and like the girl boss's brother. Is on a first responder team with these people. Of course, more diversity involved in that too. And they're going to check out the ship before, of course, the building it ran into collapses in on itself. And of course, they get caught up in this like moment where there's clearly some bad stuff going on board. And some good horror moments in there. Now, I enjoyed the action of these moments. Like, I'm not going to say it's all bad in this stuff. Like, overall, like, the beginning was like, okay, I don't understand what's going on. The robot body changing of the children was interesting and creepy, so at least it did hold my attention and entertain me on that level. Once they got into exploring the ship with like the horror music in the background, it was kind of interesting and entertaining as well. Now, the girl knows there's something wrong, and she's going to go out and she wants to rescue her brother. And it just ends there. They just deploy, and that ends the episode. So we don't really know what's going on. We don't know any motivations of what's going on. There was not enough, and this happens in comic books, I notice a lot these days as well. There's not enough in this episode to hook you to the series or make you care about any of the characters enough or care about the plot enough because it's still just a complete mystery. And it feels like they just like went, oh, it's an hour now. We're going to just cut this off because of the time limits rather than actually giving you a complete story in the first episode or giving you something to really latch onto. Now, same thing in the comic book industry. Like, I mean, since everybody's writing for graphic novel, a lot of those first issues just don't have enough character moments or don't have enough plot to hook onto. And it feels like you've got an incomplete thing. And then you just like are waiting a month for the next one. You're like, yeah, I'm not that interested. And that's kind of where I am with this. I don't think I'm going to pick this up. I might give the second episode a chance if I have time. But this feels like just another generic dark sci-fi with like, there's going to be a monster alien running around. There's going to be evil corporations trying to like stop them from the other side. And the girl's just going to be better than everybody else. And we know this, right? And so what else is there to latch me onto this? I don't have anything. This has been everything in this has been something we've seen before, and this one is too slow paced and too choppy with like what they're trying to do with this to really get you going on the first one for the first episode. So leave a comment down below with what you think about this. All the actors seemed fine to me. I didn't have any problems on that level. The adults playing kids in adult bodies actually really pulled that off pretty well. So I got to give kudos for that. Liked the action scenes in it. I liked the sort of like tense horror scenes in the starship that crashed towards the end of it. but that was just not enough to hook me because the first beginning just really didn't offer anything. Thanks for being here, guys. Hit the like and subscribe button. Did you watch this? Leave a comment with your thoughts. And please check out my Justified, Saga of the Nano Templar. You're going to love this. This is a great alternative for sci-fi. It's good stuff right here. I've got a ton of books. I clicked on the wrong one, as you saw. But this is one that's going to appeal to you as sci-fi fans, and I appreciate you being here. Thanks for being here and checking it out. We'll be back.